The night sky above the dense Washington forest erupted with a sudden, violent light. A sleek spacecraft, its silver blue hull scorched and torn, plummeted through layers of clouds, leaving a trail of sparkling debris. Arya Kim gripped the control panel, her alien hands moving frantically across unfamiliar controls as alarms blared throughout the ship's interior. She was not supposed to be here. This mission was meant to be a simple reconnaissance, gather data about the primitive planet called Earth, assess its potential for future colonization, and return home. Now, everything had gone catastrophically wrong. The ship's navigation system flickered and died. External damage from the unexpected solar storm had ruptured critical systems. Arya could feel the vessel losing altitude rapidly, the forest's dark canopy rushing up to meet her with terrifying speed. Impact was violent and sudden. Trees splintered like matchsticks, branches tearing through the ship's hull. Metal screeched against wood, creating a nightmarish symphony of destruction. For several moments, everything was darkness and chaos. When Arya regained consciousness, pain was her first sensation. Her body, designed for a world with different gravity and atmospheric conditions, felt broken. Strange smells invaded her breathing apparatus as pine, wet earth, something organic and completely foreign. She was alive, but barely. Her advanced medical systems were damaged, emergency protocols only partially functional. Blood, or what passed for blood in her species, leaked from multiple internal wounds. The ship's interior was a twisted mess of broken technology and shattered components. Outside, the forest was silent. Moonlight filtered through broken branches, casting strange shadows across the crash site. Arya knew she had limited time. Her people would be searching for her, but Earth's detection systems might locate the crash first. Slowly, painfully, she extracted herself from the ship's wreckage. Each movement sent waves of agony through her body. Her environmental suit was torn, exposing silver blue skin that looked almost metallic in the moonlight. Survival protocols demanded she find shelter, assess her injuries, and minimize her exposure. The forest floor was soft beneath her feet. Strange insects chirped and moved around her. Somewhere in the distance, an owl hooted, a sound completely alien to her ears. Arya Kim, a scientist who had studied hundreds of planetary environments, now found herself unexpectedly vulnerable on a world she had previously considered insignificant. Her communication device was damaged. The universal translator crackled with static, rendering it useless. She was alone, injured, on a planet she knew little about, with no immediate means of contacting her home civilization. What Arya didn't know was that her crash had been noticed. Not by her own people, but by something much closer, something very human. Jay Park, a local forest ranger completing his late-night patrol, had seen the streak of light. His trained eyes had watched the object crash into the forest near Mount Rainier. Something told him this was not a meteor, not a satellite, but something entirely different. As Arya struggled to stabilize herself, dragging her injured body away from the wreckage, she remained unaware that her first encounter with humanity was about to begin. The forest, which seemed so alien and threatening, would soon become her unexpected sanctuary. Her mission of quiet observation had transformed into a fight for survival. The prejudices she carried about humans, that they were primitive, violent, technologically inferior, would be challenged in ways she could never have anticipated. The night grew deeper. Moonlight painted the crash site in shades of silver and shadow. Broken technology glinted among shattered trees, a testament to a journey interrupted. Arya Kim, an alien scientist light years from home, took another painful step into the unknown. Little did she know that her arrival would change everything, not just for herself, but for an entire planet. The first rays of dawn crept through the forest, casting long shadows across the crash site. Jay Park's truck rumbled along the narrow forest path, his trained eyes scanning the landscape for anything unusual. He had been a forest ranger for over a decade, but something about last night's strange light had kept him restless. When he spotted the first pieces of twisted metal, he knew this was no ordinary crash. The debris looked nothing like any aircraft he had ever seen. Metallic fragments with strange, almost liquid-like surfaces lay scattered among the broken trees. Something was definitely wrong. Jay stepped carefully, his boots crunching on fallen pine needles. His hand instinctively moved to the radio at his belt, but something made him pause. A faint sound, not quite human, not quite animal, caught his attention. There, half hidden behind a cluster of fallen trees, lay Arya. Her silver-blue skin looked pale, almost translucent in the morning light. Her breathing was shallow, each breath a struggle against an body clearly not designed for Earth's environment. For a moment, Jay froze. Everything he knew about rescue, about first aid, seemed to slip away. This was not a human. This was something entirely different. Arya's eyes flickered open. Her vision, adapted to different light spectrums, saw Jay as a blur of colors and shapes. Her universal translator, damaged during the crash, struggled to process the sounds around her. She saw a large form approaching, a potential threat. With what little strength she had, Arya tried to move. Pain shot through her body. Her advanced medical systems were barely functional, emergency protocols struggling to heal her injuries. She was vulnerable, and she knew it. Jay noticed her movement. "Hey," he said softly, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "I'm not going to hurt you." The words meant nothing to Arya. But his tone, gentle, careful, seemed to transcend language. She stopped moving, watching the human carefully. He approached slowly, pulling a medical kit from his truck. Years of wilderness training had taught him how to handle unexpected situations. But nothing had prepared him for this. As Jay knelt beside her, Arya's body tensed. Her species had studied humans from a distance, considered them primitive, violent. Yet this human showed no signs of aggression. His hands moved carefully, checking her for injuries with a gentleness that surprised her. Her environmental suit was torn, revealing intricate biological systems that looked nothing like human anatomy. Jay noticed strange markings, what seemed like biological circuitry running beneath her skin. This was technology and biology merged in a way he couldn't understand. "You're hurt," Jay said, more to himself than to Arya. He pulled out a blanket, carefully draping it over her. The gesture was simple, but to Arya, it was incomprehensible. No scientific observation had prepared her for such an act of unexpected kindness. Her communication device crackled. Fragments of translation emerged, broken words that made little sense. "Help, need, not, threat," the device stuttered. Jay looked confused but remained calm. "I'm going to help you," he said, though he knew she couldn't understand him. "You're safe now." Carefully, he began to assess her condition. Her pulse was different, not human, but definitely alive. Her body temperature was lower than any human's, her skin texture unlike anything he had ever seen. Arya watched him, a mixture of fear and curiosity in her alien eyes. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. Her mission of quiet observation had become something entirely unexpected, a fight for survival, dependent on the very species she had been sent to study. As Jay prepared to move her, to get medical help, neither of them knew how this moment would change everything. A chance encounter in a quiet forest would become the first step in a relationship between two entirely different worlds. The forest around them remained silent, the only witness to this extraordinary moment of unexpected connection. 2 weeks had passed since Jay found Arya in the forest. A small cabin on the edge of Mount Rainier National Park became her unexpected refuge. Jay's medical knowledge, combined with her own advanced healing technologies, slowly restored her strength. Communication remained challenging. Arya's translation device worked in fragments, producing broken sentences that often made little sense. Jay learned to communicate through gestures, drawings, and patience. She watched him constantly, studying every movement, every interaction. One morning, Jay brought her a cup of herbal tea. To her surprise, the warm liquid seemed to activate her body's healing mechanisms faster than her own medical systems. She realized humans had developed remarkable survival techniques that her advanced civilization had overlooked. The cabin was filled with books about nature, ecology, and local wildlife. Arya found herself fascinated by Jay's collection. Charts of local plant species, detailed drawings of animal migration patterns, and complex ecological research covered his walls. These were not the primitive records she had expected from humans. Jay worked as a forest ranger, and he began taking Arya on careful, short walks around the forest. Each expedition became a lesson in unexpected complexity. She watched how he interacted with the environment, carefully removing invasive plant species, helping injured animals, monitoring forest health. One afternoon, they encountered a wounded deer. Jay's approach surprised her. Instead of seeing it as a potential food source or ignoring its pain, he carefully approached the animal, used his medical kit, and helped it recover. The gentleness shocked Arya. Her scientific training had taught her that survival was about efficiency, not compassion. Her own medical knowledge began to merge with what she was learning. Human methods were different, less technologically advanced, but often more adaptive. They used local plants for healing, understood complex ecological relationships, and displayed a connection to their environment that her own civilization had long forgotten. Nights were filled with silent observations. Arya would watch Jay work, sketch, or read. His routine was methodical but not rigid. He seemed to understand the forest as a living system, not just a resource to be studied or conquered. Her communication device slowly recovered. Fragmented conversations began to make more sense. Jay learned a few words in her language, she learned basic English phrases. Their communication became a bridge between two entirely different worlds. The food surprised her most. Simple meals prepared from local ingredients seemed to have complex nutritional properties. A soup made from local mushrooms and forest herbs actually helped her healing process more effectively than her advanced medical nutrients. Arya's initial mission of observing humans as potential conquest targets began to change. She saw adaptability where she once saw weakness. Humans didn't have advanced technology in every system, but they had something more profound, the ability to understand, adapt, and coexist. One evening, while watching the sunset, Jay showed her a book about ecosystem balance. The way humans understood interconnectedness challenged everything she knew about planetary management. Her civilization saw worlds as resources. Humans saw them as living, breathing systems. Her body continued to heal. The forest became more than a strange environment, it became a classroom. Every interaction with Jay revealed layers of complexity she had never anticipated. Humans were not primitive. They were different, adaptable, surprisingly sophisticated. As weeks passed, Arya realized her mission had transformed. She was no longer just an observer. She was learning, understanding, becoming something more than her original programming had designed. The small cabin, surrounded by ancient pine trees, became more than a place of recovery. It became a place of unexpected discovery. Two beings from completely different worlds, finding understanding in the most unexpected of circumstances. Jay never asked where she came from. He treated her as a being in need, not as an alien, not as a threat. His compassion was her first true lesson about humanity, a lesson more powerful than any scientific observation. The forest watched silently, a witness to this extraordinary moment of connection between two worlds that were never meant to understand each other. The communication signal came without warning. A high-pitched frequency burst through Arya's recovered communication device, breaking the peaceful silence of the forest cabin. Her body tensed, recognition flooding her eyes with a mix of fear and determination. The Krelmer retrieval team was coming. Jay noticed her sudden change immediately. Years of tracking wildlife had made him sensitive to sudden shifts in behavior. "Something's wrong," he said, watching Arya's silver-blue skin turn a shade of pale gray. The signal meant only one thing: her original mission was about to be forcefully resumed. Her civilization had tracked her crash location, and they were coming to extract her or eliminate any potential evidence of her unauthorized contact with Earth. Arya knew the protocol. Her people would neutralize any potential witnesses, collect her, and likely prepare a strategic invasion assessment. Humans were seen as a potential resource, not as a civilization worthy of respect. But something had changed in her. Jay's computer began showing unusual satellite movements. Strange electromagnetic disturbances appeared around the mountain region. Military radar systems would soon detect something unusual. "We need to prepare," Arya said, her translation device now working perfectly. Her voice carried a weight of urgency Jay had never heard before. Their plan was complex but precise. Using Aria's advanced technological knowledge and Jay's understanding of local terrain, they would create a defensive strategy that could potentially misdirect the incoming Krellner team. The first ships would arrive within 48 hours. Metallic objects began appearing in the sky, not stars, but something distinctly artificial. Aria's technology revealed what human systems couldn't detect. These were not just ships, but advanced combat units designed for planetary reconnaissance and potential elimination. Jay's Ranger training and Aria's scientific expertise merged in unexpected ways. They used local terrain, electromagnetic interference, and carefully planned technological disruptions to create a complex defensive network. Mountains became their shield. Forest terrain became their strategic advantage. Every rock, every tree, every hidden valley would become part of their defense mechanism. Aria realized she was no longer just an observer. She was now a defender, not of her original civilization, but of the planet and the people who had shown her unexpected compassion. The Krellner retrieval team would expect a straightforward mission. They would find something entirely different. As night fell, Aria and Jay worked together, preparing systems that would challenge everything her civilization understood about planetary conquest. Human adaptability, combined with her advanced technological knowledge, created something entirely unexpected. Military radar stations began picking up strange signals. Satellite systems showed unusual electromagnetic patterns. Something was happening in the forests of Washington state, something that defied standard explanation. Aria's communication with her original civilization became a careful dance of misdirection. She would provide information, but not the complete truth. Her loyalty had shifted, her understanding transformed. Jay understood little of the technical details, but he understood strategy. Years of ecological management had taught him how complex systems work, how small interventions could create massive changes. Their preparation was not about winning a battle, but about protecting a planet. About showing that humanity was more than a potential resource. That they were a civilization with depth, complexity, and unexpected resilience. The forest around them seemed to pulse with anticipation. Ancient trees stood as silent witnesses to this extraordinary moment of potential conflict. Aria looked at Jay, realizing that her entire understanding of civilization had been fundamentally changed. What began as a simple research mission had become something far more profound. The Krellner retrieval team was coming. But they would find something they never expected. A planet, and two beings, ready to defend their unexpected connection. The sky erupted in a brilliant display of electromagnetic chaos. 3 massive Krellner ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, their silver-blue hulls cutting through clouds like sharp knives. Aria and Jay watched from a hidden mountain observation point, their breathing synchronized with tension. Aria's communication device intercepted the invasion protocols. Her former civilization saw Earth as nothing more than a potential resource, a planet to be studied, stripped, and potentially colonized. But she knew something they didn't. Humans were not what they appeared to be. The first wave of reconnaissance drones launched from the Krellner ships. Silent, efficient machines designed to map and analyze planetary defenses. But Jay had prepared something special. Using a combination of Aria's advanced technology and his understanding of local terrain, they had created a complex network of electromagnetic disruptions. When the drones entered the mountain region, nothing worked as expected. Navigation systems failed. Communication channels scrambled. What should have been a simple reconnaissance mission turned into complete technological confusion. Aria's fingers moved across a makeshift communication device. She wasn't trying to fight. She was trying to communicate, to show her civilization that Earth was different. Each signal was carefully crafted, revealing the complexity of human adaptation without exposing critical vulnerabilities. Jay watched the sky, his ranger training giving him an unexpected advantage. He understood terrain, understood how small changes could create massive disruptions. The mountain became their primary weapon, not through destruction, but through intelligent manipulation. The Krellner commander, observing from the lead ship, grew increasingly frustrated. Their advanced systems were being challenged by something they couldn't comprehend. Aria's strategic communications suggested weakness where there was actually incredible strength. One by one, the Krellner ships began to experience system failures. Not total destruction, just carefully planned disruptions that made continued invasion impossible. Their technology, so advanced in its own context, suddenly seemed fragile. As dawn broke, something unexpected happened. Instead of a massive battle, there was a moment of profound communication. Aria's final transmission wasn't a threat. It was an invitation to understand. She revealed the true nature of her mission, not as a conqueror, but as a learner. She showed them glimpses of human complexity, ecological management, social structures, technological adaptability. Her report was unlike anything her civilization had ever received. The Krellner ships slowly retreated. Not in defeat, but in a state of profound confusion and unexpected respect. They had come expecting a simple conquest. They were leaving with more questions than answers. Jay turned to Arya, a small smile crossing his face. "They're gone," he said simply. Her translation device captured not just the words, but the emotion behind them. Humanity had not fought with massive weapons. They had fought with intelligence, adaptation, and an unexpected form of resilience. In the weeks that followed, Arya became more than just a visitor. She became a bridge between two worlds. Her research transformed from a military reconnaissance mission to a profound study of planetary diversity. The forest around them seemed to breathe with relief. Ancient trees had witnessed something extraordinary, a peaceful resolution to a potential planetary conflict. Aria's body continued to adapt. The human environment, once so alien, now felt like a second home. Her silver-blue skin seemed to reflect the complexity of her new understanding. Jay continued his work as a forest ranger. But now, he had a new perspective. The world was larger, more complex than he had ever imagined. An alien scientist had shown him that diversity was not a threat, it was an opportunity. Their story would remain mostly unknown. A secret shared between a forest ranger and an alien scientist who had chosen understanding over conflict. As evening fell, they sat together watching the sunset. Two beings from different worlds, united by something far more powerful than technology or scientific protocol. Hope. Understanding. Connection. The forest watched silently, a witness to an extraordinary transformation.